Lifting weights is bad for your kids.
The big thing I say is like, you gotta win the morning.
Heavy requirements on them to lift heavy weights.
The conversation has to be changed.
What you truly value.
No right way and there's no wrong way.
Become the source of struggle.
I kept finding myself in tears from the physical pain.
You're listening to the Stephen Kinsella podcast.
Hey guys, welcome to the show. This is episode 42, and as you can tell, I'm going to dispel the myths of weightlifting and kids and teens and why it is 100% positive for them to start doing strength and conditioning or lifting weights, and the myths that surround all of this. So we're working in the industry, working with kids and teens for the last decade. We always get a concerned parent, and it comes from a good place, that weightlifting will stunt your growth. And I used to believe that when I was younger. It was like, oh, if you lift too many weights, it will slow you down, it will make you less, you won't be as explosive. But the fact of the matter is, to become explosive, to become that type of athlete, or in general just a stronger, faster person, you need to become physically strong first and foremost. You don't get strong from just doing speed work. You don't get strong from just playing around to an extent, but you get stronger from doing resistance training to build the muscles to get stronger. So to me, it is essential, because we do less play, we're less active as a race, we're not doing as much with our kids anymore. They're not being like going out and playing and climbing and running and doing all those things that they would do for hours on end. Because of the society that we live in, we're finding that kids are getting weaker, naturally weaker. So we want to help them get stronger, and the best way to do that is resistance training. Now, we'll go through the benefits of being active and play and the different types of play, but we're going to go just kind of into the myths, and I've taken some notes today, so I have some notes just so I can get everything across the line. We're going to dispel 10 myths that we hear an awful lot. And starting off with the first one is kids lifting weights will stunt their growth. When done properly, with proper technique, under the guidance of good qualified coaches who can work with kids, there is no negative benefit. Could you hurt someone doing weights? You could hurt anyone doing weights if you don't know what you're doing, if you're a bad coach. If you allow a kid to do weight training with no instruction and not being allowed to actually learn from someone who knows what they're talking about or knows what they're doing, yes, there's a potential, but there's a potential for anyone to hurt themselves doing anything if they haven't been trained to do so. So there's no actual benefit and no actual negative to it. And then when it comes to stunting your growth, there's nothing in any research that has proven that. Has a kid fallen and damaged a growth plate? Yes. But we have not seen people that get damaged growth plates from doing resistance training, because no one is crushing kids with weights. Yes, if you overloaded a child to the point while they're growing, there's a potential there, but we haven't seen anything, and it would only be done through bad movement patterns and really bad coaching. So it can't happen. We've never seen it happen. There's no research on it, and there's a possibility there. In actual fact, the research shows that when a child lifts weights, they will actually grow stronger bones and potentially get to express their true height development, because their bone is growing and it's growing stronger, so it can develop better. So there's actually a positive, more than a positive of building bone density. There's a positive, you're building bone density, you're building a stronger lasting bone, you're banking for when you're older, and you're building muscle, strong muscle on top of that. So myth number one, will it stunt your growth? That is a negative. And we've worked with kids for 10 years, and we have guys that have gone from being like 5'2" up to 6 foot because of the years they've been with us, and it has not stunted their growth. Number two, strength training is only for older kids and teens. Absolutely not. Strength training is for everyone at all times. There's no kind of, well, you're old enough to now start lifting weights. If you think of it, like if you have a toddler, and I have a 2-year-old, she runs around and she picks up items. She picks up objects all the time. She drags my bag, which my bag probably weighs a couple of kilos. She drags my bag in from one room to another, and she likes to click the buckles together and undo them. It's kind of her thing. We also have some light kettlebells in the gym at home, and she picks them up for my son's kettlebells. When she's in the gym, she wants to pick up the heavy balls, the 3 kilo balls, 4 kilo balls, and she'll try and push them and pull them around. So yeah, no, kids are doing it already. It's just we can, if you're going to start allowing a kid to lift a weight, doing it structurally, making sure that the weight is appropriate for their age, and yeah, it's 100% possible. Again, most kids that go to school pretty much have a lot of books in their bag, and those bags are heavy. So again, you're picking up a bike, it's a weight, everything's a weight, so there is no real age. If you were going to start a kid with strength and conditioning or strength exercise or physical exercise training, then yeah, I would probably say between the ages of 4 and 5. I personally think it should be slightly older. It should be slightly older because of what I do, but yeah, I know guys that run with kids smaller, and it's absolutely 100% okay. Number 3, lifting weights will make you bulky. Unfortunately, it can't. It just can't, because your body is not flooded with hormones, so you can't create that kind of adult muscle bulk because you don't have the hormone profile to allow that to happen. And that's like for adults, that doesn't really happen either. It takes a long time to create that type of bodybuilder look, and you have to train specifically like a bodybuilder. So you're not going to create bulk in kids or teens when it comes to lifting weights. It would be very hard to do, and even at that, you won't get the results that you're looking for at a young age, because as I said, your hormone profile is not ready. It's not there. Strength training is dangerous for kids. It's not. Obviously, done wrong, anything done wrong, driving blindfolded is bad for you. But strength training is not bad for you if you have the right coaches. And again, I must express that if you're going to send your child to a gym that or to a coach that does S&C or strength training, make sure that they have qualifications in youth coaching. I see this all the time with different gyms. Their coaches are not qualified to coach youths. They're qualified to train adults. They're not qualified to train youths. They have not gone through proper certifications. They have not gone through and educated themselves. I see it in sports where I find out teams are doing S&C work, and it's just some random guy doing random stuff that he's seen on the internet. And the intent is good. The intent of it is good, but it's not beneficial. So that's when things can go a little bit obscure. But if you're going to allow your kid to do strength training, make sure they're working with a qualified coach, someone that understands what they need and how to program for it. Number 5, should you only do bodyweight exercises? No. And this is and I love this one, because if you think about it practically, it makes no sense. So yeah, if you can do pull-ups and push-ups and hang and squat and roll and lunge and tumble, then yeah, that's amazing. And we love that. We love the fact that kids but most kids can't do that. Most kids can't do push-ups. Most kids can't do pull-ups or chin-ups. Yeah, they can squat. Some kids struggle with squatting. Some kids don't have the balance coordination to lunge. So doing some sort of pressing overhead with a lighter weight, doing some pulling work with weights that is not their body weight. So you got to think, like, if I have a 7-year-old who weighs 25 to 27 kilos and they can't do a pull-up, and the guy beside them can. So one guy can pull 27 kilos off the ground and one guy can't. How do I get them to pull 27 kilos off the ground? I give them a lighter weight. I give them an external weight to pull down to help build that muscle. So body weight exercises, as much as they are brilliant, and we want all kids being strong enough, but some kids aren't able to do body weight. So resistance, external weight would be the best benefit for them. Strength training will negatively affect kids' flexibility. No, it won't. In any actual fact, it will help. But like anything, if you repeat something often enough, it will. You can negatively affect your flexibility, and that goes with anything. But weight training won't like stop kids from being flexible. They're so flexible in any way. It will actually help create better movement patterns and teach them end range, so they can actually express their flexibility or their movement going forward. And as they age and as they grow, especially as they grow, training those patterns so the body knows where the end ranges are during growth spurts is really, really good for kids. Girls shouldn't lift weights because it's not feminine. I'm grasping here, right? So lifting weights will make a girl bulky. It's not a feminine trait. Firstly, girls are ridiculously strong. And we have seen time and time again that girls will tend to excel over boys up till the age of 13 years of age, until the boys get the hormone hit, and that's just the advantage they get. But girls will move better, they'll lift better, they can endure better in regards to their strength training. So yeah, it's definitely strong can be feminine, and girls can lift weights 100%. Most of the girls in our gym would be the stronger girls in the kids programs, would be the strongest out of everyone. Number 8, kids should lift weights. Kids should lift heavy weights to see results. Again, no, seeing a girl or a boy that is like lifting a really heavy weight all the time is not good for the body. They have to be trained properly. They have to have appropriate programming. Can they move to a heavier load with movement is good? Yes, that is fine. Again, once it's under the right supervision of a good coach, then that is fine. But you do that very sparingly throughout a year, maybe between 1 to 3 times a year. You might do that. If even, you don't even have to. But the goal is to build just kind of more strength and volume and good repetitions and good movement with weight. And if they can express good weight for, let's say, 6 to 8 repetitions, then you might allow them to go up a couple of percent next time they go into a new cycle or a mini cycle of training. So strength training will, 10. Kids don't need strength training. They get enough exercise from sport and play. This one is, I think initially it sounds good, right? So you get to play. And I believe that kids should be doing physical literacy, which they should be playing multi-sports. They should understand how their body moves. But what happens with sport is linear for most sports. So if you're playing any sport, and you play at a certain position in that sport, you're going to repeat the same pattern over and over again. And for a lot of sports, it is one-sided, so you're going to actually not build up the weaker side. So if you're left-footed, you're going to use that foot more. If you're using hockey, you're going to be swinging from one side more than the other, and that's going to create a long-term imbalance. And we see this so much from working with teens. We get a lot of teens that come from sport to our gym. We've worked with teams over the years. We've worked with camps. And we can and a good coach can tell, and we tend to know if you're coming from a specific sport, we kind of already know what's going wrong. We know what's going wrong. And here's the fun bit, right? If you think of it, when you become good at sport, and when you get to the highest levels, you get strength and conditioning coaches. We in Ireland, we're too far behind. I believe strength and conditioning should be in every sport. But then when they get to like 16, 17, 18, then it's okay, we'll start doing strength and conditioning. But they've already built up so many bad patterns, bad movements, that it can actually end up hurting them because they're not actually able to move correctly anymore because of the sport has created an imbalance. So sport is good for you. Is it healthy for you? Not really. Long term, no sport is really healthy for you. And guys that get paid millions a year, that's just a job. I'm going to pay you 10 million and you got to sacrifice your body. And your job when you're not playing the sport is to make sure your body's good to go. And a lot of athletes end up pretty much broken by the end of their career because they are sacrificing their body for money, and it is a business. When it comes to kids and teens, they're not sacrificing their body for sport. Well, they shouldn't be sacrificing their body for sport. So we got to make sure that they're being looked after. And we know that strength training helps prevent injury. We know that strength training will build up the imbalance in their body so they can have a more healthier body and then still perform in their sport. And this is just something that we know to be true. And if it wasn't true, then why do we get given kids who are broken to fix to send back to sport? And that is why sport is not really as healthy as you think it is. It's good for kids. It creates community. They learn a lot. They find a tribe. It's good to be a part of. There is a kind of cardiovascular fitness benefit to it. There are so many benefits to sport, and I love sport, and I want my kids in sport, and I think all kids should find a sport. But not all kids actually like sport as well at the same time. But at the same time, all sports have a bad issue with them, and it can make you unhealthy as you age, as in unhealthy for your body. So definitely strength training strength training over sports would trump it. Trumps it 100%. Fumbled a lot there, but sure, that's how we do things. Well, it's not how we do things, but that's how it went. So moving on to the benefits. So the benefits of strength training for kids, right? So firstly, it increases muscle strength and endurance. So it increases the capacity for the body to move better, move more efficiently, and be able to move more load. So there is a strong benefit for kids to losing strength training. It will enhance their bone density, and we should probably cover some of what we already covered in the myths in the benefits. It will enhance their bone density. They will have, as they age, they will have better body composition. So what will happen is they'll have more confidence in themselves. They'll have confidence through movements, which will give them the confidence they need, and they'll have a better body image, because if they're exercising and if they're strength training correctly and they're on a right program and they're playing a bit of sport, then they will have less body fat on them, they will be healthier, and they'll have more energy, and they'll just be just a healthier human being, which is obviously the goal that we want for all our kids. It improves athletic performance. Yes, 100%. If I can make you physically stronger, you're going to be stronger on the pitch or on the court. If I can make you physically stronger and then teach you how to become powerful and faster, then you're going to be a more powerful athlete. So 100% has a carryover into sport. The funny thing is that we don't actually have a carryover if you play sport that will make you a better weightlifter or better weights. It kind of seems to only really go one way. It will prevent injury 100%. I get a lot of clients here that do strength training to prevent injury so they can go back and play sport. And that is the nature of the beast. So yeah, 100% prevents injury. Boosts self-esteem and confidence. Like I said, if we become competent in movement, we're quite active and we're exercising 3-4 times a week, we're lifting weights, we're doing cardiovascular work, we're playing sport, then you're going to have a better body composition. You have a better body composition, you're going to feel more confident in yourself. Despite what people might say, yes, being more athletically looking and having more muscle on your body will build more confidence in you. Enhanced overall fitness 100%. If you're doing strength and conditioning, you're going to have better overall fitness, better posture and body mechanics 100%. If you have better posture, you have better blood flow, better lymph flow. That will help your immune system, which again, we all want a stronger immune system. A healthier weight management 100%. In this day and age, we are more obese than we've ever been, which is ridiculous because we've got more options to be healthy. But yeah, better health, weight management, improved focus and cognitive benefits. So there actually is studies that kids that exercise will have more clarity, less anxiety, less likely to feel bad about themselves, and they can then process things better because they have a clearer brain and they're able to function cognitively better, which is really good. Is really good for kids. So exercising, like I said before on a different show, exercise before school or during school, I think is essential because it will help kids use their energy that they have, but it'll also help them study better. And we've seen that there's studies that have come out that have proven that kids that exercise before classes that they struggle in tend to excel. Obviously not loads of exercise, like 5-10 minutes. Long life habits of physical activity. Yeah, so like I said about building a strong generation, we want our kids to have long life habits. We want them to just think exercise is just a daily thing. What are you doing today? Hey, we're going to run 5K. What are we going to do? We're going to go out and we're going to paddleboard for 2 hours. What are we going to do? We're going to do a kilometer run and do 200 push-ups or 200 air squats or do something along those lines. And that's just normal for them. It's normal to be active. It's normal to exercise. It's normal to lift weights. And then, like I said, it enhances overall health. Yes, it enhances the overall health of a child. It enhances the overall health of a kid. It enhances the overall health of an adult. We know that moving the human body, making it physically stronger, making it heart health better, cardiovascularly fit, then you will firstly generally live a longer life. You'll have a stronger immune system to fight disease. It is better for you to be healthy and strong than it is to be weak and pretty much lazy. So we need to look at that when it comes to kids and teens. So kind of coming close to the end, we're going to wrap it up, is just the overview is kids should and can lift weights. Teens can lift weights. They need to do it under controlled supervision, so they need to do it over someone that knows what they're doing, knows how to spot a kid that has bad movement patterns, needs to know not to force range of motion, needs to understand growth. So if a child is growing, that you have to peel back range of motion and peel back some of the movements that they do. They need to understand injuries for if a kid gets injured, and they need to be qualified. They also need to have compassion and empathy for kids and understand that kids don't process things the way adults do, so your coaching approach needs to be different. If you are someone that is looking to put your kids into strength and conditioning, these are the questions that I'd ask the coach. What are you qualified in to coach youths? How long have you been coaching youths? Not that that's as important, because some guys can be just really good naturally. And then what way do you program? How does it work? How do your cycles work? If a coach can't answer those questions, firstly, he's not qualified. Secondly, they're just making it up as they go, which they shouldn't be doing. They need to be programming this. So if you come to me, hey, what is FSM doing with your kids right now? I said, well, currently we're in an 8-week cycle, and we have put a lot of emphasis for 2 days a week where we're introducing the Olympic lifts, because our kids are more they've been with us a longer time, so they're getting to develop those patterns. And then we're focusing primarily our strength on the deadlift and the squat movements, and then we have a lot of skills. So the skills this cycle, we're focusing on body weight, so they're doing a lot of push-ups, doing a lot of pull-ups, doing a lot of handstands. So that is our purpose of this program. And the goal is not how much weight can they lift, the goal is how much better can they get at doing those movements particularly. So can they move the barbell really smooth for 8 to 10 reps? Can they hold a longer handstand? Can they hang longer? Can they do more reps in the push-up? And it's all about them just moving better for 8 weeks. And then the next cycle is going to be slightly different. We'll take out the Olympic lifting, and we're going to actually push towards back to strength more, and just focusing on getting those strength patterns back in. So I'm just going to drop this in here. It was something I completely forgot to talk about. So there is some negatives that we've seen, and this is something that I kind of want to get across. These negatives come from a good place, but they are bad. So the first one is the negative side of youth strength and conditioning is parents and family teaching. So what we see is guys that have gone to the gym, or they have good intentions, and they will try to teach a movement that they don't really understand why they're doing it. They can do it, but they don't understand how to coach it. So again, if you can do something, it doesn't mean you can coach something. And it's coming from a place of, like, obviously good intentions, but it's not good for the kid or the teen. The other negative, the biggest negative that I would see in the fitness industry for kids or mainly for teenagers, is teens that go to Globo gyms or big commercial chain gyms because of what they see and then what they mimic. Monkey see, monkey do kind of mentality. I'll give you an example. So I get sent videos from some clients that train in other gyms, and one of our teens was doing bench press, and behind him was an older boy. I say he's about 20. He looked like he had a lot of muscle on him, he was in good shape, but what he was doing was so horrendous. It was so bad. The angle he had, the dumbbell, the angle he had, his neck, which it was scary to see. And because he looks muscular and he's bigger, the guys that are in the gym that are younger would see him and go, hey, he's a big guy, he must know what he's doing. But yet what he's doing is literally going to hurt his neck, if not damage him long term. And what we see in those gyms is we see guys, and if I go to gyms myself every now and again, you see some random stuff happening. But if you look the part and you've got the muscle and you've got a very influential young kid there, they're going to see you do something stupid or see someone do something stupid and then want to repeat that because they think that that is how you should do things. Unfortunately, that is only leading to disaster. And that is the negatives. The negative side of strength and conditioning for teens is allowing them in environments with people that don't have a clue. And that's all we're doing. So guys, if you like the show, if you like some of the tips, or if you have any questions, you can post in the comments below. I'd really love your support. If you like and subscribe to the channel, it means a lot. And I will see you on the next one.
The big thing I say is like, you gotta win the morning.
Heavy requirements on them to lift heavy weights.
The conversation has to be changed.
What you truly value.
No right way and there's no wrong way.
Become the source of struggle.
I kept finding myself in tears from the physical pain.
You're listening to the Stephen Kinsler Podcast.